Well, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world, and this is very special broadcast tracking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's official visit to France, a landmark event that marks his seventh official visit to this very critical European partner and also follows elevation of the India-France relationship to a special global strategic partnership. Remember earlier this year in February 2026, you're watching a special broadcast, Bharat Innovates, India's Deep Tech Leap. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and also welcoming on this special show, my special colleague, Amrit Pal. Morning, Amrit.
Good morning, Sakal. A major component of this trip is Prime Minister Modi's participation in the 52nd G7 summit in Evian in France, and Bharat Innovates, which is expected to be jointly inaugurated today by Prime Minister Modi and President Macron of France, the maiden edition that takes center stage today in Nice. In a while from now, Sakal, we'll keep bringing the updates.
Absolutely. We will keep an eye on Prime Minister's itinerary in France, but also first up is Bharat Innovates, as you just mentioned, which will be showcasing India's deep tech prowess to the entire world.
And joining us live from France, DD India's Shobhendu Ghosh and some experts on this broadcast over the next 3 hours or more.
Yes.
Let's begin.
So on the first leg of his two-nation visit, Prime Minister Modi is in France, as we just told our viewers, where he and French President Emmanuel Macron will jointly inaugurate Bharat Innovates 2026 in the French city of Nice at Palais des Expositions in a short while from now.
And an initiative of India's Education Ministry, Bharat Innovates 2026 will feature about 120 Indian innovators, nearly 15 higher education institutes and over 500 investors, including leading corporates and venture capital firms, along with global CEOs and industry leaders. The event will cover 13 key sectors such as advanced computing, semiconductors, space technology, biotechnology, energy, healthcare and manufacturing, highlighting India's growing innovation in deep tech ecosystem. He will also have bilateral meetings with the French President Emmanuel Macron, during which the two leaders will review the progress made since February and chart the next steps in the bilateral cooperation. The leaders will also discuss pressing global issues of mutual interest.
Earlier, Prime Minister Modi arrived in Nice on Saturday. Now, remember, the first stop on his 6-day tour of France and Slovakia, aimed at strengthening India's engagement with Europe across strategic, economic and technological sectors. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, was received by a delegation of senior French dignitaries, including Minister of Education Edouard Gaffet, Minister of Higher Education, Research and Space, as well as France's ambassador to India.
And upon his arrival, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a warm welcome at his hotel. Chants of Modi Modi by the Indian diaspora echoed as generally we've seen in the past when Prime Minister visits a country. The diaspora is visibly, some would say performatively, excited about meeting the Prime Minister or greeting him.
Let's quickly go live across to Nice in France, where DT India's Shubhendu Ghosh has been reporting relentlessly in the last 72 hours. Shubhendu, now today is the day. Today is the day when all... Yes, Shubhendu, welcome to the show. Today, the world is watching. This is just about a matter of time when both leaders, Prime Minister Modi and President Macron, will jointly inaugurate one of its kind, Bharat Innovates 2026. Well, India, you know, treading on that, taking a pole position when it comes to being the world leader in innovation and startups. Over to you.
There you said it, Sakal. Hello, Sakal and Amrit. Big day today. It's been in the planning for many weeks now. Bharat Innovates 2026 is set to be inaugurated. In fact, as we learn in a few minutes from now, in fact, we are hoping that the arrival of Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and President of France, President Emmanuel Macron, would be at the venue in just a short while from now. And after a sort of brief chat, they will both come to the stage for the inauguration. We are also expecting to hear from them their thoughts about this Bharat Innovates, this mega showcase of Indian talent, Indian startups, deep tech startups in particular. They will also go around and take a look at this exhibition. But this is not an exhibition alone. That's what makes it special. It's a complete 360-degree startup ecosystem collaboration effort that we are talking about. The top investors from across the world, it may be taking place in just one part of the world, in Nice, France, but it is in a way gateway to Europe and the world for Indian innovators and startups. So all of them are very excited. The leaders are also going to be here. Both the leaders, in fact, share that technology and innovation-led governance, which is also visible in their own respective policy. The countries at national level also collaborate at a bilateral level. Technology is a very important component of it. So in that sense, Bharat Innovates today, as it is inaugurated, is going to be a celebration of not just Indian talent, but also India-France partnership in the domain.
Absolutely, Shubhendu. Given the strategic partnership, global strategic partnership, as they're calling it, or a special global strategic partnership, the technology is an important component of that relationship. Give us a sense of how technological cooperation between the two countries stands at present, and where would they want to take it?
Right, Amrit, we have to understand that emerging technologies, particularly in the domain of artificial intelligence, semiconductor-led products and procedures are going to be defining the future. In fact, they're already defining our present. And the nations, a group of nations that have a significant potential, both in terms of ability to innovate and also to be able to deploy the innovation at scale, are going to be important players in shaping that future. And in that context, this partnership between India and France is seen as an economic and also for a long time technological powerhouse of Europe and the world. And in India, in a very short period of about a decade, the startup ecosystem has thrived. It's one of the largest in the world. Many rankings put it at number 3 in terms of its size. And there are some 200,000 active startups today. Over 120 unicorns, which means startups of over $1 billion turnover a year. So in that sense, India has also caught up at a very short span of time as far as the startup and innovation boom is concerned. And this partnership is the strategic partnership, one of the oldest for India, starting way back in 1998. Happens to be pillared very importantly on this technology and innovation aspect. We've seen the manner in which in the past, whether it is the pandemic or times of conflict, where there are great pressures that are put on supply chains of not just energy, but also critical minerals, critical technologies, access to them. So in peacetime, it is a good time for countries, like-minded countries like India and France, to be able to foster partnerships, to be able to foster a technological ecosystem. Remember, today is also a day of collaboration between higher education institutions of India and France. There are innovations coming together, the manner in which technologies are going to be implemented at scale, where India has a particular expertise. So in that sense, the strategic partnership driven by the technology-driven future that we're looking at,
give us a
and
sense,
India and France.
Yes,
Important
Shubhendu,
players.
picking up from there, give us a sense. You've been interacting with the French collaborators, their startup leaders, and of course the reports that you're getting us from there as far as India participation is concerned. What's the narrative that's building up? How is this European partner looking at India in terms of our positioning as the global tech powerhouse? It's both ways. Let's just talk about now the French expectations from India.
Sure. And if I may talk about the French expectations in the words of the French President Emmanuel Macron, when he famously said the question is no longer if India innovates, but the question is who's going to partner and benefit with India.
You know that who innovates with India, and that line by President Macron. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you here again, but you know when he summed it up by saying Jai Ho, I think that was the moment. Yes.
In fact, this is in simple words, Sakal, Amrit. This is a recognition that India has arrived on the global stage as far as technology, innovation-led development is concerned. Make in India is not just a slogan. Make for the world is not just a slogan. In fact, Bharat Innovates is a living testimony of the manner in which India is ready not just to present its innovations to the world, but to collaborate with the best in the world. There are health startups who are finding cutting-edge solutions to diseases such as cancer detection. There are space startups who have developed innovations where modular rockets of any size, reusable rockets, which can be launched from a variety of sites, not just traditionally one place from where you could launch rockets and satellites. So these cutting-edge technologies and innovations are all happening in India, and the world recognizes it. France recognizes it, and it wants to partner the investors here. They want to be able to take advantage of the place where India has been able to reach and the kind of potential that it carries. Let me also just add that figure of about 1.5 million engineers in diverse fields in India graduating every year. Now, that's the kind of talent pool that is unheard of in any part of the world. So we're not just talking about an ecosystem which is thriving. We are also talking about a talented workforce that is coming in every year. So the countries want to therefore collaborate with this dynamic system, which offers all kinds of options that you need to sort of shape your innovation-led future. You need talented workforce. India has it. You need innovation which can be sort of modified at scale and at a particular request and in a modular manner. India and Indian startups can provide that. So in that sense, India provides an entire package of innovation and technology through its very talented startups and higher education institutions that the French and the world are very interested in.
Right.
Shubhendu, there are 15 higher education institutes also participating. Yes. You mentioned higher education institutes. What kind of a collaboration could we look at that, especially in terms of bringing in new technologies, startups, ideas? Are there French universities, institutes, higher education institutes also there?
Absolutely, Amrit. In fact, if we look at Bharat Innovates as a program, it is in fact a platform that is created by Ministry of Higher Education of India. So at the heart of it, the idea is to be able to connect the education and innovation infrastructure ecosystem of the two countries, to begin with India and France, and then also just sort of open it up for the world to collaborate with it. We have top institutions here, more than 15 to 20 higher education institutions. The leading IITs and their representatives are here. So the kind of collaboration that we're looking at from the higher education perspective in particular, Amrit, you know that artificial intelligence-led products are already around us. We also use it in sort of broadcasting and other ways. But these technologies are also growing and developing and sort of taking shapes, different kind of shapes and applications at a very fast rate. And these universities, their labs are the places where the most critical experiments are carried out. so as to make sure that these experiments and these technological advancements do not take place in silos, so that one doesn't have to reinvent the wheel in every country and every university again. This collaboration between the top university also means that the best ideas, the best practices, to begin with, of Indian and French universities, are quickly shared with one another so that they can act as sort of force multiplier, and that innovation can be taken forward at a faster rate, can be deployed at a faster rate, and the two countries, their universities, can become each other's strengths, and the students, through talent exchange, talent mobility, which is another important aspect of Bharat Innovates, talented people be able to move across geographical boundaries in order to take this common idea
What
of
Indian
innovation
universities and
forward.
higher education institutes are there?
There are different IITs who are here. IIT Delhi, I spoke to people of IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore, which is a premier institutions for very pure sciences-led innovations. Amrit, all of them are represented in particular, and they are collaborating with their colleagues from the French universities here at the venue, and taking forward those collaborations.
Yes,
Sakal?
absolutely. Overall, 120 plus ventures representing India there at the world stage. But right now, center stage happens to be Nice in France. Shubhendu, thank you so very much. I'm sure you have lots to catch up because the event is going to be jointly inaugurated in a while from now. We'll, of course, get back to you later. Meanwhile, staying with Shubhendu's report now, this is an exclusive conversation with DD India. Infosys founder Narayan Murthy spoke on Bharat Innovates event, and also he highlighted India's growing innovation and deep tech ecosystem. Take a look.
We are at Bharat Innovates 2026. I have with me somebody who is considered one of the top entrepreneurs of our time. We have with us Mr. Narayan Murthy, founder of Infosys. Good morning and welcome to DD India, sir. Now, the very first question is the first time of this scale Indian startups and talent ecosystem is being showcased outside of India. What are your thoughts on Bharat Innovates?
Well, I think India has been in the last decade or so done a good job in the startup ecosystem thanks to Prime Minister Modi's Startup India initiative. They are in various fields including high tech, and therefore this opportunity of our young entrepreneurs to come to France, a country known for innovation, and to demonstrate what all the good things that it has done. I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm very happy. I think this is something that we must all thank the government of India for having done it.
So we know that in the 1980s you laid the foundation of a billion-dollar company, the global brand Infosys. Could you give us in brief a picture of how were the circumstances then and now for new startups and innovators?
Well, those days there was no venture capital. Software was not recognized as a collateral. Banks therefore did not give any term loans. Communication was very poor. Getting a telephone took 7-8 years. There were no high-speed data communication lines. Traveling abroad was very difficult because we didn't even have current account convertibility. We had to apply to RBI, wait for 15-20 days. So it was a very difficult time. But today those problems are not there. Today the problems are different. The problems are even more difficult. Our entrepreneurs will have to compete the best in the world, bring about world-class innovations, and then succeed. So I would say that the job of today's entrepreneurs is a lot more difficult than the job of the entrepreneurs in the 70s and 80s.
And so finally, from your vast experience, what is that one learning that you'd like to share with so many young innovators present at Bharat Innovates?
Well, the most important thing is to express the value of your product or your service to the customer in a way that they see a differentiated business value compared to all other existing products. That is, express the business value that you provide in a simple sentence, not a compound sentence, not a complex sentence. Second, the leaders have to lead by example in sacrifice, in austerity, in hard work, in smart work, in innovation, values, etc. That's all there is to it.
So thank you very much for speaking with Lead India. That was the iconic entrepreneur, Mr. Narayan Murthy, talking about his thoughts on Bharat Innovates, his own learnings with camera person Aniket Dubey. Shubhendu Ghosh for Lead India, Nice.
And India is all set to witness a journey of transformation in the deep tech sector. As the maiden edition of Bharat Innovates is all set to be inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi and French President Macron in a short while from now, bringing together top innovation startups and venture capital funds from India, France and some other countries. Take a look at this next report to understand more about Bharat Innovates 2026.
साल 2026 भारत फ्रांस संबंधों के लिए एक अति विशेष वर्ष है। इसमें पीपल टू पीपल एक्सचेंज और गहरे होंगे। इंडस्ट्री टू इंडस्ट्री पार्टनरशिप का विस्तार होगा। जून 2026 में फ्रांस में भारत इनोवेट्स 2026 के तहत हम भारत के बेहतरीन टेक स्टार्टअप दुनिया के सामने रखेंगे, जो हेल्थ, क्लाइमेट, सिक्योरिटी जैसे ग्लोबल चैलेंजेस के समाधान बना रहे हैं।
India stands at a defining moment in its development journey, one where innovation is no longer merely an aspiration, but a fundamental driver of economic growth, global competitiveness and societal transformation. In Bharat's Amrit Kaal, where the mission is to become a developed nation by the year 2047, the Government of India has launched Bharat Innovates 2026 during the India-France Year of Innovation. It is a national program of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, designed as a global accelerator for innovations from Indian higher education institutions, thereby building a long-term collaboration bridge between India's innovation ecosystem and global stakeholders. Announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 17th of February 2026 at the inauguration of the India-France Year of Innovation, the maiden event extends invitation to global leaders, CEOs, investors and universities to collaborate with India's innovation ecosystem. Bharat Innovates 2026. The maiden edition takes India's top 120 deep tech startups to Nice, France, to catalyze pilots, co-development, investments, research partnerships, manufacturing and market access, along with 15 premier Indian higher education institutions including the IITs and IISc, and 5+ scientific and strategic institutions will come together. Bharat Innovates will serve as a privileged gateway to the Indian innovation ecosystem revolving around 13 frontier technology themes. These include semiconductors, biotechnology, space and defense, healthcare and medtech, advanced computing, AI, cloud, quantum, next-gen communications, advanced materials and critical minerals, energy, sustainability and climate, smart cities and mobility, blue economy, agri and food technologies, disaster management and resilience. For global stakeholders, Bharat Innovates 2026 will provide an opportunity to build sustained engagement with India's innovation ecosystem through investor-grade deal flow, fast-track partnerships, research access, problem-to-solution bridge, global soft landing routes, R&D pipeline. As the world navigates rapid technological disruption, climate imperatives, and evolving supply chains, India is emerging not just as a participant in these changes, but as a leader shaping the future. The narrative has moved beyond Make in India to embrace a more ambitious vision. Create in India, innovate for the world.
French President Emmanuel Macron had famously said, "The question is no longer if India innovates, the question is who will innovate with India." We are at Palais d'Exposition, the venue of Bharat Innovates, a unique global platform which is going to bring together and join the ecosystems of higher education, startups and talent mobility of India and France. With camera person Aniket Dubey, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India, Nice.
So make in India, and that's what's going to be made for the world. And to discuss all this, we are joined by our special panel of guests this Sunday afternoon. Ambassador C. Rajashekhar, former senior diplomat, joining us on the show. Namaste sir, welcome. And also Atul Areja ji, former foreign affairs expert in our Delhi studio. Thank you, Atulji. Thank you very much.
Not a formal.
Yes, foreign affairs. It was just a fumble. I apologize for that. Okay, Ambassador Rajashekhar sir, coming to you. Your thoughts. I mean, now we've just seen the report. Bharat Innovates. The numbers are very impressive. The representation from India is huge. It's a showpiece event, but a national event, our national event going global in terms of collaboration and convergence, and not only in innovation, but overall the tech rubric that we have been talking about. In diplomacy, I think this is one of its kind event that both countries will be, taking it forward together. Explain to our viewers why and what makes this important for both India and France.
Namaskar. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Congratulations. You have given all the facts, that relate to this very important summit. Now, let me put the big picture backdrop. If you see G7, what takes, Honorable Prime Minister to France is this time is G7 summit. India is not a member of G7. So India is a special invitee. That, of course, we have been invited. Prime Minister has been participating since 2019. But during such big summits, normally the bilateral meetings are impossible. But we're able to pull it off also. That on the margins of G7 summit, which will take place Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 15th, 16th, 17th, on the eve, India has pulled off a bilateral summit where French President Macron is there. And not only that, we are stepping up qualitatively to usher in a new era of Indo-France bilateral relations. If you recall, 10 years ago, 2016, India, France have launched ISA, International Solar Alliance, to aggregate demand and to propel and propagate, promote solar power as a major solution for the energy crisis. Now, this is a new opportunity that India and France have come together to utilize this summit to step up our relations, which are already a global strategic partnership. In fact, India has been the first strategic partner for France outside the Western Hemisphere. And for us also, France among the Western countries is the first global strategic partner since 1998. And even before, in 1980s, when Indian nuclear power plant Tarapur ran into difficulty on account of fuel supplies, countries like France was at the forefront to stand by India. France has always been a reliable partner. And now the times, fast forward to 2026, when the times are really challenging. Say, we are living in VUCA world, vulnerable, uncertain, ambivalent, complex world, where the ground under which, under our feet is shaking completely from unipolar to bipolar to a multipolar world. So it's all the more necessary that countries like-minded like France and India come together to usher in a new era of transcendental diplomacy to stabilize and restore world order, which is challenged, battered, bruised by wars in Ukraine and West Asia. So that is the context of this visit. And Prime Minister, as always, has been very warmly welcomed by the Indian diaspora. And in Nice, we are staging Bharat Innovates. This is very important that this is a great opportunity to step up the image of India. India has a certain image as the most populous country, rapidly increasing at about 7% plus annual growth. But this is a showcasing of the Indian innovation and 120 out of 3,000 entries have been selected ventures in innovation that that are showcased on the global stage for the world to partner.
All right. Let me bring in Atul Lanecha here, senior journalist, foreign affairs expert. Atul, it's all very well to showcase, use, this visit, which Ambassador Rajshekhar is saying was primarily in the context of the G7, then turned bilateral, and use it as an event to sort of showcase your ambitions in technology. But given where we stand, given the kind of research our higher education institutes do, we have a workforce, we have some talent. But that cutting edge research, would the European countries, would France, what do they gain by partnering with us?
Oh, absolutely. You see, first of all, the quality of the institutes, which Windows report showed. Most of the IT is there. They are top class. In fact, providers of talent to the world. And if you see the top CEOs of major tech companies, whether it is Google and others, have their roots in the IT. So you got very, very high quality kind of institutions who have gone to France, Amrit. So that's number one. So the Indian partner is strong. Then you have the French side of it. One is the institutes which we will be interacting with, and that is important because while you have strong IITs, they also need to improve at a global level. So you need to connect with equally high-powered global institutions of Europe. And that connection is being made here. Great potential, but I would be also skeptical here that potential, yes, translating this potential, right, after this meeting, the leadership that is required at a technical level. You see, India's, if you see our nuclear program, for example, Homi Bhabha, or the space program, it is done by very, very strong leaders, what Mr. Narayan Murthy was also referring to. You need that after the initial contact, you need that leadership in the IITs, in the technology hubs to drive it and derive the full potential out of it. The Prime Minister can do one thing, he can connect you. But then it has to be downstreamed. The follow-ups are as important as the initial connection.
So the downstream of summitry level, what we will get to see when the two leaders jointly inaugurate, Atulji. And having said that, what are the long-term implications? What does India stand to gain? India advantage and world advantage after the summit gets over, after this event?
Sakal, the whole thing has to be put in a broader context. Why is this happening? This is happening with a grand objective, which is Viksit Bharat 2047, right? With that, then we go downstream. And to achieve that, technology, especially high technology, AI, big data, deep analytics, without that, you're not going to reach there. And within that framework, you see, you connect it with the semiconductor mission. You're putting billions of dollars into it. Dholera is coming up. I mean, I've been there recently. It's something amazing which is coming up. So you have started a new ecosystem, but that alone is not enough. Semiconductor is not enough. You're going to need this deep tech to fire up the engines, and that is where it connects with the broader semiconductor mission, which links up with the Viksit Bharat mission. So you got to see this as one of the pillars of the Viksit Bharat story, which is happening. Because now what you're tapping is the European side of the talent. You need to tap every corner of the world which has this technology. You're doing it. Europe is very important in what Ambassador Rajshekhar was saying, multipolar world. One of the poles is Europe. So you're tapping one of the poles. The other poles will be the United States. Another pole will be Russia. Another pole finally will also be China. So you have to at some point connect all of them to get that technology pool into India, innovate here, and for the world, which you mentioned. And that takes us back to that 2047 goal. So it is a full kind of a framework and various channels feeding into that bigger story. And that is why you got to look at what's happening here with that big story.
Okay. Let me bring in back Ambassador Rajshekhar. Ambassador Rajshekhar, let me ask you the same question, rephrase, and what I asked Atul. you know, as an event, as a framework for linkages, Bharat Innovates is a great idea. You should showcase your talent, your companies should go there, your higher education institutes, your IITs should go there. Your IITs have produced some good people who are world tech leaders today in global companies, but they got shaped in their ecosystem. Your IITs stand at 100 something in the global scenario. Your companies do not have the kind of money to put into research. Why should the Western companies collaborate with you? What do they see in you that these frameworks that you put together, but finally the collaboration will take place if it is mutually beneficial? What do Indian companies, what does India, what do Indian research institutes bring to the table for them?
Ambassador Rajshekhar? I think
we lost the video link. Atul, would you like to take that, please?
A great question, Amrit. What does India bring to the table? One word: scaling up or scale. Europe doesn't have it.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So, and then when you talk about scaling up, how do we do it? The talent factory. So many, you're getting a huge number of young people into the ecosystem. Europe doesn't have it. So it's a perfect connect for Europe. First scale, and scale would translate finally to business. So you make money out of it in the end.
So you're saying we're a market?
Not just a market. We are a developer, because the whole idea is to develop at a cost-effective way in India, partly a market, but develop. And then once you have the product, then you sell it for the world. So you find a sort of a three-part element. Europe technology doesn't have scale. Bring it to India, develop here, scale cheaper, and then sell it to the rest of the world. So
that's what you bring to this. So scale is what you bring to the
Europe
table.
gains a lot out of it. I mean, they'll earn billions of dollars if this works. But my problem is, again, to make it work, we need Vikram Sarabhais, we need Abdul Kalams, and the BrahMos system, Shiv Thanu Pillai. I mean, these are the guys who have done it. That leadership, cutting-edge leadership downstream is most important.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, we have some more reports also as we continue to stay with our discussion. We have some reactions coming in from Nice itself. These are the innovators who spoke exclusively to DD India. Let's listen in and we'll get a context as to what makes this Bharat Innovates very special.
These innovators are at the Bharat Innovate. They spoke with Shubhendu Ghosh and he sent us this reactions.
Being part of Bharat Innovates reflects the strength of Indian innovation and reinforces our ambition to deliver world-class defense technologies to global markets. I'm Prashant from Convoy Bicycle India Limited. We develop advanced electro-optical and infrared systems that help defense forces see better, understand the battlefield faster, and act with greater precision. The opportunity to engage with global stakeholders, especially in France, will help us build strategic partnerships and expand into new international markets. We believe that Indian innovation can play a meaningful role in shaping the future of defense technology worldwide.
Transform warehousing processes, making them faster, more space efficient and scalable. We're excited to expand our footprint internationally and turn Unbox Robotics into a global category leader into intralogistics automation speed.
C6 is a deep tech company transforming ocean agriculture into the next generation biomass feedstock that will reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. C6's vertically integrated CV technology platform is a testament to India's rising leadership in sustainable innovation. Our vision is really to scale CV-based sustainable aviation fuel, and we are very happy to connect with partners and investors who will enable us to turn this new economy vision into reality.
It was one of the earliest startups in the ecosystem of IIT. We could successfully develop a low-cost indigenous earthquake control system being tested by Ministry of Earth Sciences in its RAISE observatory.
Being part of Bharat Innovate really helps us to access the global partnerships, the global markets, and also global exposure. It's very important for upcoming technology like quantum computers. QPI is a leader in intelligence modeling and intelligence compute, high quantum computer. We have built the most powerful quantum computer in India, and we have our own foundry. We have a quantum foundry, one of the largest in Asia, and we also build a quantum data center. We call it as Quantum Supercomputing Center.
At RAFI, we take science very seriously. We do not only make just systems, we go deeper into it. We innovate the subsystems, and the materials are going to be utilized for making those subsystems. We innovate our algorithms, engine, different subcomponent in electronics. So it is very exciting. We are following what our Prime Minister had started, Atmanirbharta, which is Bharat Innovates. We are using a lot of our tools which were made in France, like the Dassault system. The Dassault system is providing us a lot of capabilities to be able to do multi-body dynamics in our engine research development. We invested in one of the best machine in the planet called Corellis. The partnership between India and France is a cornerstone, making sure we produce world-class aircrafts.
Amrit, I was just wondering, before you go to Ambassador C. Rajshekhar, Atulji, quick one. I mean, I was just wondering, the expanse and the scale of it, having these innovators, ours and theirs under one roof on one day, and this whole event, I think, running into 3 days, plus the whole branding of this event. It's not India Innovates, it's Bharat Innovates.
Yes.
I think there is an underlying message. We have done it very smartly.
Absolutely. I mean, the brand India, or brand Bharat.
Brand India, yes.
This is something which is very special. And when you
You're
talk,
taking Bharat to the world.
and when you have this much of talent interacting with each other, this creates an enormous synergy.
Yeah,
You know,
cerebral
it has a cycle, a dynamic of its own.
Yes.
And then again, once this happens, we bring it and
Back home?
and continue with the momentum.
Let's hope so.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get Ambassador Rajshekhar in here. Ambassador Rajshekhar, Atul Aneja very rightly says that, you know, when you take your tech companies there, when you take your innovators there, they interact at the global scale, it creates a sort of energy. And then you bring it back here, the scalability that you can provide to, you know, smaller countries of Europe is mutually beneficial. But back home, how do you rate the innovation ecosystem to take India on the journey to Viksit Bharat at the scale which the Prime Minister would want?
This has several dimensions to it. We have been doing this kind of creating a platform for innovators to come together, for higher education institutions to come together. But now we have taken it to a new scale. What is new about it is that we have all put it all together, that out of 3,000 entries, 120 selective, high value innovation, tech-based enterprises are being featured. And there are more than 500 VIP today, VIP participants who represent investors, stakeholders who are interested to partner with Indian innovation, and also the higher education institutions from Indian, French sides. So this makes it special. And your question as to how it has a spin-off effect on back home. Say, all along we have been practicing diplomacy for development. So when Indian innovators interact with the latest, the best practices from around the world, they also imbibe and bring them back to further experiment, innovate, and customize, curate for the Indian context and replicate it elsewhere. So this is an ongoing evolutionary process of great learning value for Indian innovating these startup enterprises.
Also, what do we bring back home in terms of sovereignty? Because when you are highlighting such solutions in energy, sustainability, critical minerals, and especially at this current juncture, Atulji, the timings of it, the energy crisis, you're also looking in a big way at Atmanirbhar Bharat, building it all together, self-reliance. We are enough for ourselves.
Self-reliance of a certain quality, because we are moving to the next level of manufacturing and production. You know, we are moving into the industry 4.0, which is...
That is also one of the focus areas.
And for that you need innovation, you need AI, you need big data, cloud computing, cyber security. Without that, Industry 4.0 cannot function. And that is what you bring. In this particular case, when there is so much of chaos in the world, these are the technologies we need to absorb. But frankly, I come back to the point of multipolarity, and India is one of the poles of the international system. And to really consolidate as a sovereign pole, and that when you say you are a pole, it implies sovereignty. Then your mindset changes that not only do you absorb the technologies, but from a consumer, you get the innovator, the leadership in you. So the mindset completely changes of learning others' technology and adjusting to it, to somebody who has developed technology and providing it to others. That is a complete change in mindset and culture.
And also when you're joining hands with one of the critical European partners, France, and considering the bonhomie between the two nations, the two leaders in particular. In fact, I remember Amrit covered the Bastille Day celebrations there, where our Prime Minister was a special guest. You know, there is a continuity in the engagement between the two leaders, particularly he being here, President Macron during our Republic Day celebration, and the whole bonhomie between the two. What is the larger message that goes? I think sustainability and technology is one aspect of it, but in terms of diplomatics, do you also think that this sends across a very big message? You said we believe in multipolarity, we believe in strategic economy. President Macron has always talked about not being aligned but allied. So there is a sort of similarity. There's a message that both want to send across.
Absolutely. You look at the Cold War period and Charles de Gaulle. You know, when you had Soviet Union, you had the United States. Charles de Gaulle said we are the third pole. That sense of sovereignty and independence is very, very strong in France, and that goes back to their history and tradition. Bastille Day, all that feeds into it. You know, so they are a very independent-minded nation. So that's why they're different. You know, if you go to other countries of Europe, maybe Germany has a different history, but France stands very, very strongly as independent-minded and on sovereignty aspect, and that's one of the major connections with India. You remember when this new organization called AUKUS was formed, Australia, UK, US. It was for the containment of China. France was not part of it. And that day, the French embassy here wrote a letter to our Prime Minister saying that we need to work together because we are, you know, both independent-minded. We can't join any particular camp.
We think alike.
It was very late that France actually joined NATO because of this underlying sentiment of not just sovereignty in a technology sense, but sovereignty in a cultural sense. That the culture of Europe, you know, that emanates, the main powerhouse for that is France. So various elements are connecting here with the Indian line of thinking, which is again Atmanirbhar, we are the mother of democracy. You know, we can't be camp followers, neither can France be. I think that's where you actually connect it to the hip.
That's why I asked this question.
Okay, Ambassador Rajshekhar, let's shift from Bharat Innovates to the bilateral aspect of the the bilateral meeting that is going to take place between the two principals today. What could we expect to transpire there?
The bilateral summit is very substantial. Foreign Secretary has briefed before the departure of Prime Minister. So there will be several understandings, documents signed, agreements, MOUs. Beginning in nuclear technology, Prime Minister has given us a target ambitiously of 100 gigawatts of nuclear power generation capacity. So there will be several, augmented AMR, augmented modular reactors and small modular reactors. So in this, France can collaborate significantly. And in defense sector, India will be taking a big leap forward by supplying Pinaka multi-barrel rockets. And in Indo-Pacific era where US is ambivalent, India and France will be entering into trilateral collaboration to strengthen the region, countries, island nations in Indo-Pacific region. And critical minerals is an area where supply chains are threatened. So whether there will be discussion and understandings. And in people-to-people exchanges, There is an ambitious target will be set of 30,000 students from India to study in India by the year 2030. And in international sphere, French president has been talking about economic imbalances, which is euphemism for the uncertainties, destabilization caused by tariff policies of US. So how we can survive, how we can collaborate, how we can hold hands each other, and also, of course, West Asia and Ukraine war and the policy responses. So all these will form very substantial, substantive agenda for India and France to negotiate.
Okay, sir. Atul, I want to talk about the defense part of it, the defense collaboration. Are the French inclined to collaborate with you on technology, defense technology, look at transfer of technology to India, or they are just looking at off the shelf, pick up the aircraft?
Look, Amrit, I don't know the details, but it would be in Indian interest to ask for, you know, like if you have an aircraft like the Rafale, you would want the source code for that. Because then you can innovate on your own.
So are they looking? Are they inclined towards TOT?
I don't know. It transfer of technology, yes, but I'm talking of deep core technologies. You know, the seed of the technology, basically. So that's something which needs to be talked to. And I'm sure we are talking about it. If you take the question of defense, the engines, Safran has a partnership with us, and that's very important. Okay, so again, we absorb the technology, and it's a co-development. You may not get, you know, technology then which India then develops on its own. But I think the spirit here is of you do things jointly, whether it is it comes to Rafale, or whether it's come to Safran, or nuclear element, extremely strong, because more than 50% of French energy production is nuclear. So that is a major area which you're doing it. I mean, after signing the nuclear deal in 2007, you opened the doors for active collaboration with France on this. So that's another issue which Ambassador Rajshekhar was referring to, the nuclear part of it. And strategic, Indian Ocean Islands, reunion. I think Micronesia also, they have a facility. Can we collaborate in some different parts of the world, which should be very strategic?
Okay, all right. We'll continue our discussion, but let's take a small detour and take you through the lanes and by-lanes of this very beautiful, picturesque Nice, where DT India's Shubhendu Ghosh is now going to take us through the historical and present-day significance of the Mediterranean city of Nice in France. Let's take a look.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Nice in France. Let's learn more about this historic Mediterranean city. It is the main city square of Nice, and it is known by its unique artistic touches. You can see those grand red buildings, these assembly of statues, and look at this particularly checkered floor. All of this built nearly 200 years ago. Nice is today the 5th largest city of France. It was founded in 350 BC by Greek mariners. In 1939, when World War II broke out, this city served as an important place of refuge for foreigners, particularly Jews fleeing the Nazi invasion of Eastern Europe. Nice is famous for this promenade. It's called Promenade des Anglais, literally walk of the English. This beautiful city has served as an inspiration for many artists. Painters like Marc Chagall, writers like Friedrich Nietzsche lived here. UNESCO gave it the heritage status, calling it the winter resort town of the French Riviera. In the 21st century, Nice is also important from the perspective of blue economy. I'm next to the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. France and Costa Rica hosted the United Nations Oceans Conference in 2025. India supported this Nice plan for a resilient and sustainable ocean future for the mankind. With camera person Aniket Dubey, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India, Nice.
What a beautiful city it is.
Absolutely.
And setting sights on the future, India and France outlined a Horizon 2047 roadmap that aims to map out the alliance's trajectory that will mark its 50th year milestone in 2047. And the India-France Year of Innovation is a crucial part. Our next report takes you through the India-France ties and what future holds for both countries.
The India-France Year of Innovation 2026, announced during the state visit of President Emmanuel Macron to India in January 2024, marks a bold new chapter in the strategic partnership between France and India. At its core lies the idea that innovation is a vital driving force in Indo-French ties. Well, France established diplomatic relations with India as soon as it gained independence on August 15, 1947. In 1998, the relationship was elevated to the level of a strategic partnership, establishing France as India's oldest strategic partner. And in 2023, on its 25th anniversary, President Emmanuel Macron and Prime Minister Narendra Modi decided to renew and deepen the Indo-French strategic partnership for a further 25 years through the adoption of the Horizon 2047 roadmap. It's under this broader agenda of orienting the bilateral relationship towards the future that Year of Innovation is taking place. India-France Year of Innovation 2026. The initiative is structured around 4 pillars, in which France and India are uniquely positioned. The aim is to develop joint solutions to shared challenges. Key pillars: aerospace, health, well-being and food, sustainable development and energy transition, cultural and creative industries. Launched during the India-France Year of Innovation, Bharat Innovates 2026 aims to accelerate India's deep tech ecosystem and strengthen its position as a global innovation powerhouse. The India-France Year of Innovation not only symbolizes progress but also underscores the coming together of two great nations, two rich cultures and two innovation ecosystems, because the year 2047 will mark 3 symbolic milestones: 100 years of India's independence, 100 years of diplomatic relations between India and France, and 50 years India-France strategic partnership. Hence, setting sights on the future, both countries have adopted the Horizon 2047 roadmap, which aims to map out the alliance's trajectory as it reaches its 50-year milestone, of which India-France Year of Innovation is a crucial part.
And to talk about, the bilateral aspect of the relationship as we were talking, Atul, I want to come to trade and investment.
Yeah.
What strides could we see and what sectors hold the promise of, scaling up the cooperation?
I think one is defense. That is one area which comes to mind. Now, when you this is innovation, make in India and exports. So it's not a direct trade which I'm talking about, but indirectly this is what will boost trade in the long run in the innovation field.
Okay.
Other than, I wish we were a more wine drinking country. There could have been a very much opportunity for more wine flowing into India. But then, India's strengths, pharma. Pharma is a big ticket item, and that's one area which we need to collaborate. Again, more of, if we can get the co-development part, it's better. But as an exporter, I think it's great that India has those strengths. Gems and jewelry has always been India's export to across the world. So these are some of the items. Raw materials can come in. Maybe, some co-development based on Indian raw materials possible.
All right.
We also, in terms of commercializing our deep tech, if we could also put in perspective, what does this, in terms of India advantage and world advantage? Let's just break it for our viewers. Let me take this question to Ambassador Rajashekhar. After this gets over and done with, Ambassador Rajashekhar, Bharat Innovates, what are the long-term advantages that we are looking at? Let me break this into two. In fact, we have some visuals coming in from Nice. Let's take a look. Photo opportunity there.
The Prime Minister with the innovators. The Prime Minister has just arrived at Bharat Innovates. This is a group photograph with select investors and venture capitalists. So you can see Prime Minister Modi along with the participating investors, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval also present, Narayan Murthy present. So this photograph, group photograph took place just a little while back. The venture capitalists and innovators interacting with the Prime Minister.
Bharat Innovates 2026, jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi and French President Macron. Remember, this is a flagship initiative under the Indian Ministry of Education and Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. And this just can't get bigger than this. 120 plus ventures, more than 13 institutes and 13 critical areas that we are looking at, all coming together under one roof. A very big collaboration and convergence when it comes to India and France coming together. India's deep tech cohort on display at the world stage there as Bharat Innovates 2026 kick-starts today. Prime Minister Modi, remember it's his official visit to France. It's a very landmark visit that marks the 7th official visit to that country, and today being day one, Amrit, Bharat Innovates 2026 will be the biggest headline besides the other important engagements that the Prime Minister has scheduled for later today. But Bharat Innovates will in fact see huge participation not only from India but also from the French collaborators as well. This event
and a few other European countries.
Yes, and a few other European countries. Remember, this is the maiden edition. It's a national program, as we just talked about, why it is important. A global accelerator for innovation, putting India at the pole position when it comes to being looked up and looked at as the innovation capital of the world, and also startup capital of the world. And this collaboration, in fact, as we also keep talking to our guests, to decode why is this significant and its ripple effect in terms of what does it bring to India when we come back home, all our participants, and the collaboration, what does it really bring for both the countries?
And yes, in diverse fields. I mean, using technology to sort of, as you were saying, to fire up the engines in various fields, wellness, medtech, space, defense, in various fields.
Okay, Shubhendu is also, I believe, with us because I think we should just throw it back to him because he's there in Nice as we stay with these very exclusive visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacting with the French collaborators and other from who are there participating from the other European countries as well. Shubhendu, over to you. Please go ahead.
Hi, Sakal Amrit. Yes, the visuals that we're looking at the moment are in fact of global leaders, particularly investors and venture capitalists who complete the program of Bharat Innovates today. Otherwise, it would have been just another exhibition of Indian startup and innovation. These are investors and venture capitalists who have already shown tremendous interest in collaborating with Indian innovators and startups. Remember, these 120 odd startups are the best of the best from India in diverse sectors. I mean, there can be clubbed under the larger umbrella term of deep tech startups, but they represent diverse areas. As Amrit was mentioning, there is space, there is AI, there is quantum computing, health technology, smart cities, green hydrogen, blue economy, ocean economy. So diverse areas where these investors would like to put in their funds in order to collaborate and make full use of the talent and innovation that India has to offer to the world. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in fact, as he just arrived at the venue just a short while ago at Bharat Innovates, his first engagement is in fact engaging with these investors. But the whole idea of Bharat Innovates is to take Indian startups and innovators beyond the boundaries of India, not just in principle, but also in person. And therefore, this is the maiden edition of Bharat Innovates taking place in India. It's taking place at a technology powerhouse of Europe, France, here in Nice in particular. So we see Prime Minister in those visuals engaging with investors, trying to understand what is their vision, what are their requirements, how do they evaluate, and the manner in which they want to collaborate with Indian talent, what are the problems that they're trying to solve, and putting them all together. We can see Minister Piyush Goyal also, and also Principal Scientific Advisor. So we see an entire ecosystem, Sakal and Amrit, of investors, innovators, industry leaders, and also ministers and bureaucrats, all under the same roof, so that these collaborations can be fast-tracked through this ambitious Bharat Innovates.
Shubhendu, we have Atul Aneja in the studio. He was saying a little while back that these events like, or exhibition, whatever the term we want to use for Bharat Innovates, do is that it exchanges a lot of energy between startups. It's a forum for ideas to be exchanged. Do you sense that energy there? Do you sense the linkages being formed? Do you see that optimism of collaboration between deep tech French companies and Indian startups?
Absolutely, Amrit. That energy, that excitement among the innovators from India who have come here. So just to make it clear to our viewers, this is an Indian program. So mostly the participants who are here, vis-a-vis the startups and innovators and institutions, they are from India. And there is a great deal of excitement in them to be able to tell their story, take their innovation to the world through this platform. And in the visuals that we see Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and we're playing those visuals on repeat, Prime Minister engaging with these investors. These investors have also proactively shown interest in engaging. Perhaps some deals are already in place and may be announced after this particular program, Bharat Innovates, concludes. It's going to continue even after inauguration, where very big-ticket sessions are lined up, where leaders like Mr. Narayan Murthy are going to speak about their experiences and putting together really the whole idea of completing the circle of entrepreneurship, where idea, innovation, and its application and commercial adaptation and investors putting in their money, all of that can take place under the same roof. In that sense, it's also a very bold experiment, if I were to use that word, to hold an event like this. This is an event that, in many ways, interesting in Nice, France. So and this is the first of its kind. Perhaps the success of the event will determine the frequency and the scale at which perhaps India will continue to hold such programs like Bharat Innovates across the world in centers of technology and innovation and investment. And in that sense, this program and what really comes out of it will form the yardsticks of the direction that Indian startups, innovators, and the whole ecosystem really will take in the coming future. Amrit?
These visuals also, Prime Minister, they're interacting with the venture capitalists and investors from India and from other European nations who are participating there. Yes, Shubhendu, if you could just also give us a context as far as what are the expectations from India really when it comes to our European partners, particularly in this context, France, the long-term collaborations that they are looking at with us, India being seen up as a very critical global stakeholder now, so where does this go from here?
Sakal, I would just like to recall what Atul Aneja sir had just mentioned a short while ago, that India's identity as a potential technology power is already established. Many of the global IT and other companies have Indian origin CEOs and leaders. So in that sense, the world, France knows that India is a producer of leaders, particularly in the domain of science and technology. What we're looking at now are innovators who are solving problems in a unique manner, and they're also solving problem at scale. Many a times it has been said that when India solves a problem, if an innovation works in India, it can work anywhere in the world. Given the kind of population size, the kind of demography that we have, the diversity of challenges and problems that the startups and innovators solve, this kind of diversity, when they're exposed to, they are in a better position to solve the problems of the world. So all these investors are familiar with that, and they want to collaborate India primarily for this strength, the ability of India to be able to innovate quickly and also innovate at scale. So both the volume and the speed is of great importance in the domain of innovation, and that is where, simply put, the investors would like to put their money. This is India already has emerged as one of the largest startup ecosystems in the world in a very short period of time. In fact, there's some space startups, for example, Agnikul, which is prominently displayed its products and innovation at the booth here, collaborates already with many foreign companies to be able to launch rockets and satellites at very cost-effective and in a very modular fashion. So these are solutions that, in fact, India is providing to the world. So there are many such domains where cutting-edge technology solutions are, in fact, being sort of created and produced in India. What it requires, perhaps, is a bigger platform, perhaps more funding, so that they can sort of reach out to the world, market themselves better, and this then forms a perfect platform, Bharat Innovates, for people who want to put in their money where the best technology and innovation is, and the best innovators looking to collaborate with people who can help them scale up. Sakal?
All right. Shubhendu, have you been able to have a word with a few investors? You've been there for a couple of days now. How do they look? I mean, they would be, as you say, they are enchanted with Indian startups, their ideas. How do they look at the Indian innovation ecosystem here? Would they want to, what's their sense of, putting their money in a country like India? How do they look at the ecosystem here?
Amrit, in that domain, one area where, when I was engaging with these investors, one area that they seem particularly interested is the digital domain. The kind of inroads success that India has achieved in creating a very, very modular and large-scale digital public infrastructure. UPI, for example, it is active in France, although still, it is gaining ground. Officially, it's active in France, and where it is not available. In fact, I was trying to find out here in Nice some shops where UPI might work, and they were saying that they're in the process of adapting to it, but they're fascinated by it. They're saying that Asia and India, it seems, in digital, digital domain and digital payments domain seems miles ahead and living in the future already, because France still has to depend on cards, on cash to be able to make those transactions. And looking at the convenience with which Indians can buy a packet of biscuits worth ₹5 or pay an EMI for their house worth ₹50,000 or more, just for example, is something that is of great fascination. And the modular character of India's digital public infrastructure and the innovations that has been done in financial technology, fintech in particular, those are some of the areas. Space technology is another area where they're very, very interested in India. And India's space sector by itself, before these startups came into the picture, by themselves had created a name for themselves, ISRO and others in the world. And now these startups have really expanded India's sectors such as space, such as fintech, digital payments. So these are some of the areas, Amrit, which I learned that the investors were deeply interested in. They want to be able to adapt it to the places where they can, the technology, the ease of use, all of those things. And given that it serves a country of 1.4 billion, they're confident that if it can serve in India with its diversity and numbers, it can serve anywhere in the world. So those are some particular areas of interest. But of course, there are many that I could talk about, Amrit.
So meet and greet with select investors and the venture capitalists, the visuals on air from Nice, Prime Minister Modi interacting, in fact, engrossed in deep discussion there, with these venture capitalists and investors. Shubhendu, please stay with us. Prior to this, we saw a group photograph with the venture capitalists and selectors, and in fact, some of them also taking selfies with Prime Minister Modi. In fact, 120 deep tech startups is what we are looking at. Shubhendu, the scale and expanse of this event, you see more than five scientific and strategic institutions, at least 15 premier Indian higher education institutions. That was the question that Amrit asked you. We are looking at this 13 frontier technology themes, again, extremely vast. And in a way, it's really a privileged gateway to the Indian innovation ecosystem. So, a lot of expectations. And what more can you have when you have the Prime Minister there jointly going to be inaugurating it with the French President himself? And I think that's the next big event we are looking at, Shubhendu. What more are you picking up as we stay with these visuals?
That's right, Sakal. In fact, we should, given that we're also playing those visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi engaging with investors, incubators, entrepreneurs from India and across the world, we should recall in 2016, I think it was, when Prime Minister gave the clarion call of Startup India. There were just a few startups, and there was no really holistic ecosystem that existed for innovators at that point in time. And 10 years of Startup India, we've seen the numbers grow to 200,000 startups. There are 2 lakh startups.
Yes. Okay, I think we will try and reconnect with Shubhendu, but let's once again tell our viewers, Prime Minister Modi's interacting with these investors and venture capitalists, okay, and from India and from other parts of the world who are there to will be participating in Bharat Innovates 2026, designed as an ongoing collaboration framework for global stakeholders. It actually, Atulji, means a lot of opportunity, a gateway of opportunities to build this sort of collaboration. But what also is very significant after this, there has to be a sustained engagement from them with India as far as our innovation ecosystem is concerned.
I think there would be, but for that to happen, Sakal, what we need is to select the areas of common interest. Now that's important. Now one area, if we look at which France has been strong and we have a very credible record, is nuclear. Now, nuclear, then you break it down, what specific aspects of nuclear? India has something called SMRs, small modular reactors. It's linked to the climate change story. So what happens is, if you have solar power, let's say it's going on the grid, that the current drops at times when the sun is not there, because storage is a big issue with solar. So that's where the SMRs can come in, because they're basically portable kind of reactors. Don't produce too much of power, but can give you that sustained, stable supplies so that the grid remains, the current doesn't drop into that. So that is one area I think we, India and France, can look at. And I'm sure that would be part, because SMR is part of is in a mission mode in India already. So that's one area. Yes. I think there are several others we can talk about it.
We've been told Shubhendu is back with us. Shubhendu, you were talking about going back to 2015-16 when we were looking at a couple of startups, and now look at it. I mean, it's huge in terms of numbers. And I remember you started your very program Change Makers, where you featured some of these startups. Unicorns. And now you being there at Nice, I mean, if you could just share your thoughts. In these years, it's a stride, it's a leap that India has taken, and world is watching.
Oh, absolutely. If I can say that with an example, there is a startup, there is a health startup, Amrit, Sakal, by the name Niramai. What they do, this is by a lady who's not a doctor, she's a computer scientist, but she's created, the founder has created a solution of detecting breast cancer without any invasive process, which is really not possible anywhere in the world. So it's a sort of X-ray sort of a product which uses AI, and it detects breast cancer in particular. Now, I remember we connected many years ago, of course, after 2016. They had won one of the first editions of Startup India Awards, the national startup awards that are given out. And they were winners in the health sector. And thereafter, they've grown from strength to strength. And Niramai also is present here as one of the top health tech startups here at Bharat Innovates. So the journey for them has been fascinating. We also spoke to them earlier today, and they said that the past 10 years have really passed so fast from just beginning with an idea to getting the support of Startup India-like program, which connects you with all the ecosystem-related aspects of startups, and then to be able to be present in a venue like this, where you can now collaborate with the world. These startups share their appreciation for Prime Minister Modi's vision of Startup India, and that really led the foundation in many ways of what we're seeing at Bharat Innovates today. Some over 120 unicorns and diverse set of startups. And remember, when we talk about 2 lakh startups being present of India, only 120 startups are here. So that makes this a very exclusive sort of gathering of startups. The best of India, Indian startup, Indian talent, Indian innovators are present here. So it's really like putting that sort of best foot forward when you are connecting with the world and opening up your innovation ecosystem, trying to collaborate and partner with France and the world. You're really putting your best foot forward with really the topmost startups in each domain, whether it's health, space, AI, quantum computing, fintech, and others. Sakal?
India advantage. How do you see this exhilarating Viksit Bharat, our vision of Viksit Bharat? And as again, just to reiterate, some of these Indian representatives, they're capitalists, investors from cutting across various verticals, whether it's film industry or technology or startups and unicorns, etc. Commercializing deep tech, Shubhendu, and also building our own sovereignty, because we are also looking at Atmanirbharta, self-reliance, because here we are highlighting solutions of energy, sustainability, etc. So all in all, your understanding, once this gets over, it's a maiden edition, you said there could be more from here on, but what does it bring back home when we come back to India? What is it there for India? We'll talk about the world also, but first up India.
Yes, I think what it brings home, Sakal, to begin with, is a great deal of recognition and also confidence. Other startups who will be looking at these 120 plus startups and innovators, the manner in which they have taken the India story of innovation and technology to the world, the kind of success stories we hope they will return with collaboration with the best and most influential investors in the world. Their stories are going to inspire hundreds and thousands of other youngsters, perhaps who are right now still undergoing their school or college education, where at one point in time startups were seen as this sort of personal business or venture, risky, not something that youngsters should pursue. They should go to more safer places to find a vocation, find a job maybe in a bigger company. But the success of Bharat Innovates, success of these 120 plus startups is going to be in fact the driving force for the next set of 100 startups or thousands of startups that are waiting in the wings to showcase their potential in the world. So in that sense, this Bharat Innovates is great, of great significance. We've been talking about the commercial aspect, but in terms of symbolism, in terms of what it will mean for a 12-year-old boy or a girl watching these visuals on their screens, interested in science and technology, wanting to create some solution to a problem facing their small town or their city or village, will get inspired that if they are able to pursue their dreams, if they're able to innovate, they can see that people from all across country, from tier 2, tier 3 towns, have been today able to reach the global stage, and they can do it too. So at the heart of it, I think Bharat Innovates will serve as a permanent source of inspiration for India's youth and the demographic advantage that we keep talking about. I think the true harnessing of that youth power can happen once we're able to truly inspire them. And this, one hopes, would be a source of great inspiration apart from all the commercial success and partnership and collaborations that it will bring home. Sakal?
100 breakthrough deep tech startups there, more than
No,
that.
100,
Yes,
120, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the number. There could be more. So, Shubhendu, you're saying technological validation is one, what you're trying to achieve through this Bharat Innovates. And then, having pilot projects between institutes and research institutes and universities that are there. Also, investment coming in directly by any kind of B2B agreements that may be reached at Bharat Innovates.
That's right, Amrit. We also see Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal being present here. Remember, the framework of India-EU FTA has also been finalized. So in that sense, perhaps we could also look at these visuals, these collaborations, this engagement for now in the domain of technology in the larger perspective of India-EU trade. And with France in particular, it's already the year of innovation, India-France year of innovation. These countries are deeply in working towards developing technologies, working towards technologies that will determine the future of not just these nations, but of the world. But on the trade and commerce front, yes, what comes out of these collaborations will also shape the manner in which the FTA, the larger trade between India and European countries, between India and European Union is going to shape up. What are the strengths of India in terms of its ability to scale technology and innovation, the products that it can offer, and not just technology, but beyond technology, the strengths that India has in terms of its exports. Again, Atulanija sir mentioned pharma, which happens to be a really big and important area of interest for global investors. India is seen as a pharmacy of the world. A few years ago, the testing times of the pandemic, the manner in which India engaged in vaccine diplomacy, developing vaccines for the world, also providing many vaccines for free to countries that needed them. So there are these strengths of India in diverse domains that are recognized and that have already shown their potential to the world. So yes, I mean, Bharat Innovates is just one part of the more diverse and deeper commercial trade engagements that sort of lies ahead. And it is going in the right direction with a framework already in place, and with Prime Minister Modi lately, if you note, has been visiting European countries at greater frequencies. So the bilateral ties with these nations, France happens to be, of course, a time-tested partner, with the bilateral ties with the individual nations becoming stronger, the framework of the free trade agreement with European Union being agreed. So there is a great deal of momentum really towards a more close cooperation in trade and commerce. Once, of course, the FTA is sort of signed and is ratified, there is already a foundation that is being built, both at bilateral and at sort of multilateral level. Amrit?
The bilateral and the multilateral component is also very significant. A bit on that as well, as you just touched upon certain aspects, Shubhendu. So in terms of the energy crisis, the context in that supply chain volatility that we see in that context. So here we are, India is there to offer Europe and other international partners, as we can see the kind of conversation that Prime Minister is engaged with these venture capitalists from India and other parts of the world. So India is being seen as a very stable partner here, capable and trustworthy technological ally for France and other developers that are there for development, co-development, procurement, and for energy solutions, if I may put it this way, because I think this doesn't stop or start with technology. It can have a ripple effect, because look around us, the other part of the world, we are grappling with a lot of crises there. Not we, as in the crises that are happening around us.
Pressures on energy supply chains in particular.
Yes.
I don't think any country is really left untouched, including the United States, which is by itself the largest producer of oil and also some gas. So in that sense, nobody is untouched by global energy crisis that we are facing. And I'm glad that you mentioned energy in particular, because remember, India and France also really are the leaders who initiated the International Solar Alliance. So this is also a time for us to reflect on sustainable solutions that can be provided in a rapidly changing world. The oil and gas crisis has once again put light a bit in a different way to become, to a great extent, self-reliant as far as energy is concerned. Now, not every country can have oil deposits, but countries can adapt and work towards having a better infrastructure as far as renewable energy is concerned, which is available to most countries and requires a certain infrastructure to harness it. And India and France are at the forefront of this initiative of International Solar Alliance. The group from a small group of 12 countries, it has grown to a greater strength. Now, in fact, the framework is such that any country who is part of the United Nations can, in fact, be a part of International Solar Alliance. So we already see the manner in which these two countries, these two partners can bring the world together in the direction of a sustainable future. ISA is an excellent example of that. And a conversation of sustainability, again, beyond energy, beyond technology. We are in Nice. There is this beautiful Mediterranean Sea next to which the city is located. Blue economy, countries which have access to international waters, in which both India and France are important partners. Blue economy, how do you harness the tremendous potential resources that lie under the sea, including energy again, are themes which are being deliberated. And in these domains also, India and France exhibit important leadership, and they're also looking in the same direction. But since we are talking about these two countries, and perhaps this point has come up earlier in your conversation with our